Evening that it's not going to make public the photos it has of the dead Osama bin Laden. A number of politicians who've seen the pictures worried that making them public would put American lives at risk by inflaming public anger. But why was the idea out there in the first place? Why is there any perceived need to see evidence of death, especially the death of enemies? Well, with us to discuss this is the author and historian Anna Whitelock and the photographer Chris Steele-Perkins. Is this a new thing?
Absolutely not. I mean, there's a great number of historical precedents for bodies of the defeated to be displayed in humiliated fashion by the victors. Richard III, Battle of Bosworth, defeated by Henry VII, stripped naked, slung on the back of a horse and dragged through the streets. And Henry VII wanted Richard to be seen like that, as a means of emphasising the scale of Henry's victory and kind of shoring up his own position subsequently. After James IV is killed at Flodden Field, Catherine of Aragon sends Henry VIII a bit of blood-stained coat as evidence of the death. And so, you know, bodies of the powerful in death are very important.
There's a very well-established pattern of this.
Yeah.
Now, Chris Steele-Perkins, it's surprising to me. You're a photographer, social documentary photographer. You must have taken I know you've taken lots of horrific photographs. Why do you think this shouldn't be made public?
Well, I think really, I mean, we're not at the Battle of Culloden or something like that now. You know, we're in the modern age. And I think it shouldn't be made public really for two reasons. One is practical and the other is moral, if you like. On the practical level, you know, the only reason for making it public seems to be as sort of evidence of some kind that this has taken place. I think we know that, you know, and I think photography has lost its credibility as a sort of flawless carrier of truth. That, you know, there's going to be hundreds of fake photographs out there on the internet tomorrow, all purporting to be the picture of, you know, bin Laden.
They're already out there.
Yeah.
Well, they're probably, yes, exactly. So, you know, I mean, putting it out there doesn't prove the point, you know, which is one sort of reason for doing it. The second is that it's unnecessary. I think, you know, Obama made a very powerful and dignified speech, I thought, about, you know, the process that had happened. You know, we believe Obama. I don't, you know, if it had been Bush or somebody who had made that speech, we would have second thoughts probably about whether it ever happened. But, you know, Obama has his credibility, and I think you just do that and you leave it, and then there's a certain dignity.
Let's take one of these photographs here, the one of the famous one of Mussolini. Now, you wouldn't. Do you think the Italians? This is of course it's a good few years ago now. But are you saying the Italians would have been wrong to have displayed that photo, taken the photograph and displayed it?
Well, I do think that is the point. You know, it was a long time ago, and you know, the other thing is putting these photographs out can come back to bite you as well. I think Shay's a good example. You know, when Shay was killed, you know,
we have that's his photograph on the mortuary slab there, isn't it?
That's one of them.
But of course, that's not the kind of iconic image that we know that's, you know, blazoned on T-shirts and so on. So in some ways, it was a stylized image of Shay that's been sort of passed on to us. Not that.
What is your point about the dead Che?
Well, I think the point is, you know, the point about showing that was to show this terrorist had been killed and so on. But he's actually evolved into the sort of hero, probably one of the top heroes of the Western world, despite this sort of intention to diminish him.
What about another photo? There's another photograph behind you over there. That's Laurent Gbagbo, the tyrant who refused to leave Ivory Coast. Now, he's alive when this photograph is taken. He's still alive. But there's something about a photograph of a dictator or a tyrant in his underwear that is incredibly effective politically. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. The body of whether it be a monarch or a political leader, is incredibly important in life and in death. You know, and to be seen in a kind of shabby, humiliated fashion, powerless, is very, very important. And I would just take issue with perhaps what Chris has said. I mean, bin Laden was so elusive in life, and aren't we just allowing him to be elusive in death and control the image? And yes, there are countless kind of images that are going to be released.
It's a pretty repellent human appetite, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is. That's the moral point. I think, you know, that just because we've done it in the past, you know, we used to hang, draw, and quarter people. It doesn't mean to say we should.
And then display the body publicly.
Yeah, that we should do that now. Nobody would suggest that that was a good idea.
But what about the other point? I mean, you were well aware of the power of images. The lasting image of bin Laden, otherwise, is of this guy with a beard and a turban and an AK-47 either in his hand or just propped up behind him. Is that the image we wish to leave of him?
Well, it's an image of him. I think, you know, the more attention you pay to this, the more you sort of create new controversies and work it up, the bigger and bigger the image of bin Laden becomes.
But it can't be any bigger than it not being released and there being this great. I mean, even
well,
now
I think it can, and I think by just putting a cap on it, saying no,
that's
agree. It. You know, and let's move on. There's a new bin Ladens coming up. You know, they've got plenty of other things to do.
Okay.
As Obama said, you know, I've got better things to do.
All right, thank you both very much. Right, it was nice of you.